Good morning and welcome to America's Home Cooking. I just came in from shopping and my family and I decided we are having bagels, but this time I'm going to use them with a red onion. Now, I know in the South, I did not know about bagels until my mother took me to that store that was in Houston. We had to travel all the way to Houston from Bevo. So it was a good 2 hour, about 200 miles. You know, you're going 85 miles an hour. Believe me, you get there in about 2.5 hours. In Texas, we used to floor it because the only time we pulled to the curb, to the what do you call it? Oh, come on. I drove the road, the area, and then you had the land. Oh, what do you call it? The shoulder. I think that's the name of it. I can't remember. Anyway, we used to drive 85 during the day, 75 at night. That was legal because it was opened area, and if you wanted to get from one place to another. And my mother found a place in Houston that on Wednesday a plane would come in and bring in the breads from up north to the south, and bagels was one of them. And people would line up around the block. I mean, they really just lined up for blocks because if you were first in line, you got a bigger choice. By the time at the end of the line, you got whatever they had. So this is when I was introduced to bagels. Once or twice, I think my mother managed to get there early enough. One time she took me. I actually got a day off from school. My mother said I was sick. I wasn't, but she wanted me to go with her, and we went. And that's when I learned about, like I said, whole grains. Now, when you do, we're going to toast these, and when you do it in the boiler, in the oven, you have to take the shelf that's in the middle, you got to move it up to the highest level you've got. So when you put the boiling pan in here with it, it's right under the heat like toast, and it'll toast, and you'll press broil. These are for people who don't know this. And when you use the broil, you have to leave that door cracked because the heat just keeps on climbing and climbing and climbing. So it's very important that you control it. You keep an eye on it because it's high temperature when you say broil. So I am going to put some butter on these. This is how we like ours. Now, I have had them served with lettuce and tomato on them, which is another way that people like to serve their lox and bagels. But my husband, when he introduced lox to me, this is how he served it. It was just with onions and a toasted buttered bagel with cream cheese. Yes, I know, it's a little fattening because you think, wait a minute, you're putting cream cheese on and you already have butter. Yeah, I know. So this is where I learned about bagels, but I didn't know about lox until lox were really introduced to me. My husband actually introduced me at a restaurant, and I was pregnant. And I sat there and I asked, Tony said, have coffee with it, it's much better. So I went to have coffee, I got a glass of milk. So I ordered, I said, can I please have a coffee? He came back with another glass of milk. I hadn't gotten my bagel, lox and bagel yet, but I was getting milk. And then I sat there, I said, can I please have some coffee? He said, yes, you can. He came back with another glass of milk. And my husband said, why is my wife getting milk? He said, because she's pregnant. And she's feeding that little one. Before she can have coffee, she's got to have 3 glasses of milk. This guy took it on, and I thought that was really sweet. I didn't mind because I like milk, so he seemed to know I was a milk drinker, so I was content. But then I finally got my coffee. Now, when we got our lox and bagels, I had a ton of lox on my lox and bagel. And Tony had to look for his lox and bagels. He said, wait a minute, why aren't I getting some lox? He said, she's pregnant, she's carrying. She's eating for 2. And my husband, these two became great friends from this whole incident, but it was just funny how it just folded out that way. Because in his culture, when a woman's pregnant, they make sure that she eats. If she wants to eat or not, everybody else can cut back, but she's bringing life into the world, and she needs that to survive pregnancy because, you know, women do die in pregnancy if you're not careful. So thought that was a gem. I got spoiled that day. Boy, did I, and I ate. I really did. I enjoyed the milk, and I know most of you are not milk drinkers, but I am. I enjoyed it tremendously. I'm not turning the broiler on until I put these in. Then I'm going to turn the broiler on because I know how hot it's going to get. I should say in the oven. See that temperature? 500. I'm going to leave that door like that. Push these in to toast. And while they're toasting, I'll get this last one going. I have one son who eats 2 of them. I've always tried to eat 2 of these, and I just can't, but they're just so good. So what I make sure is my bagel is packed with lox. I'm not going to be skimpy on it. I don't know if they sell lox now in the South. At that time when I was growing up, they didn't. But lox is actually smoked salmon. That's all it is. But they give it the name lox. I guess if you tell somebody smoked salmon, they go, ooh, that doesn't sound good. As soon as you say lox, ooh, pique interest. Now, it's always much easier to leave your cream cheese out and get it soft. Don't try spreading it when it's hard. It just doesn't work for this sandwich. Because you know, Friday I make sandwiches. My son came in with lox. He said, can we have lox and bagels? I mean, he came in about 4 days with it, and I said, yes, we can. So I was quite happy. I had a smile on my face because he knows how much we all love lox. He said, I got it. I said, thank you. I've just become aware that, you know, I've got a ham that I'm thinking about cooking it. And what I want to do is slice it and make ham sandwiches. I've got a slicer. I'm going to try. I might not be able to make the cheese, but if I can make the luncheon meat, I will be happy. Because the more I get away from those chemicals, the better I feel. Can't get rid of them all, but at least bring it down. They smell so good when they start to do that. Like I said, I'm going to use a red onion today. A man had done another one. We went to a deli. I can't remember what other fish he used that was smoked. And they did it, and he made a lox with this fish, and he put a red onion on it. He said, you have to try this. We'd come in for Loxs and Bagels. He talked us into, you've got to try this. And we did, and we loved that sandwich. But for the life of me, I cannot remember. I want to say surgeon, but I don't think it was surgeon. I can't remember the fish that he used. He was an elderly gentleman at the time, so I don't think he's around now because I'm up now in his age group, so I know he's probably already gone and left the earth. But he introduced it to us. It was a very good, you know, I just can't remember which one it was. God, I wish I could. I tell you, this is where I miss out on some of this stuff. Okay, so you're dry, so we'll just peel another layer off the red onion. Okay. Oh yeah. They can burn that fast. I am not kidding about this. So you have to be very, very careful. Started burning some. So, get this over here. I'm just trying to make room right now. Okay, now I'm going to show you what you do. If you burn toast, your grandmother knows this secret. You take this in the back of a butter knife and watch. I'll show you how you do it. I'm going to do it into the sink. I have to turn you around for all this. Touch it down just a little. You take the back of the knife. Let me get the cheese off. Whoa, it's still hot. Maybe it was good that I burned it so I could show you how to do this. Some people don't know how to do it. They'll just throw it out and start again. You don't have to. You just scrape it. If you get a little burnt on something, just take it back in and just start scraping it off. It's like grating and making breadcrumbs, except you don't want the burnt breadcrumbs. See? Real easy. Because it's charcoal. And as you can see, I told you, that's why you don't turn it on until you're ready to put them in, because it goes up in the heat very, very fast. See what I mean? You scrape it off, that's it. Yeah, I did most of the edges burnt, but the other part didn't. But this is an old trick. If you don't know, don't worry about it. You don't have to serve it toast burnt to them. Just scrape it off. And some people actually will boil water and burn a toast intentionally and scrape the burnt crust off and put it in there. And what they do is they drink that to get rid of gas. I've never done that. But people have told me that, so, you know, it's just some information. And that's how you get the burnt off. Now that you know how fast the boiler works. I got one more I have to do. Let's see if I don't burn these. Broil, start, and keep an eye on it. Now, I have a little onion, red onion here. I like to call them purple because they have a beautiful purple look to it. I don't know why they call them red. You're just going to thin slice it. You can see I'm cutting them thin, see? My mother, when she used to get to the end, she would always sit there and get a fork. Me, I locked my nails in on it and held it. I'd use my nails and go, you know, just like a cat. That's what I would do. I do it all the time. She used to look at me, really? Hey, it works. So if you have long nails, that's a good way of stabilizing everything. Now I'm just going to take the rings apart so I can spread them out. So we traveled a long way to find some things, you know, like when My Fair Lady came out, my godmother took me. We had to get dressed for it because it was premiere night. I had to get dressed, and my godmother drove me all the way to Corpus Christi. I came back singing. I was so happy with the music. I'm hungry. I have not eaten, so don't get upset with me. Just about every recipe you have will always have you have the shelf in the middle. If they tell you to move it to the bottom, I have a pie that actually says move it to the bottom. And I have other recipes that say, like when you do cookies, you go up one shelf when you go to do cookies, because cookies are so delicate they'll burn on the bottom if you leave it in the middle or you put them in the lower part of the shelf. So if your shelf is in the middle, you just go up one to make sure your cookies don't burn. Now what you do, now that I've separated all this, as you see, I separated all my onion rings. Now I'm going to tell you point blank, I am not going to be stingy with the lox, and I'm not going to be stingy with the cream cheese, because when you're stingy, all what you're eating is bread. Now when you have this, because it is basically raw fish, that's what it is, it's just smoked, you're not going to get hungry in a hurry after having this. It is a stick to the ribs. And when you eat food like this, it takes longer for it to break down, and your body utilizes it quite well. So you really don't need much now. For children, I would recommend that you serve this with milk with them and not a soda. Their jaws will get a workout though. That's why when I make them, I used to make 8, and I would use 3 to 4 packages of cream cheese. Now I know they have gum in their cream cheese, which is their stabilizer. And I know my grandparents sat there and said, don't swallow that gum. It'll make your stomach churn and go and you'll blow bubbles in your tummy. I mean, they told us crazy things. But did we listen? No, because if we had gum in our mouth and the teacher said, are you chewing gum? We would swallow it right away, because we did not want them to know we were chewing gum in class. As you can see, I got a lot burnt off of them. When my son brought this in, he sat there and said, Mommy, you have to buy the cream cheese. I said, I have the cream cheese. It's been sitting in the refrigerator. He said, really? I said, can we? And I said, yes, we will. So what are you having today? I'd like to know. Today my mushroom coffee should come in. I'm thinking about ordering 2 of them. So they ask if my sons want me to have coffee with them, but I can't have coffee. I have to have mushroom coffee. No, when I go shopping, I always try to make sure we're having sandwiches. It's the only way I can pull this off and go shopping, come back, try to get something cooked in a hurry. I found some pasta I can stuff. Nanu, my grandfather, for those of you that don't speak Piedmontese means grandfather, used to make this dish. I think I've only had it 2 or 3 times. I know the dish, and I am going to make it. I finally got the pasta I was looking for, and I am very happy with it. So I bought it. It's not on the shopping list, but I'll get the stuff together because I do plan to make that dish. That is basically it. The only thing is to put the lox on. And the onions, and we're covered. And you got a nice package of it. Once you open up the package of Lox doesn't last a long time. So what I might do is take some scallions, if there's any leftover Lox, and I will sit there and fix like a pate. Pate is a spread. Most people say just make a spread, but the proper term is like a pate. Now, put this on the bottom piece. What am I putting it on top for? I'll show you here. And you can see it's cut real thin for people who are unfamiliar with lox. It's cut very, very thin. Has a nice smoky flavor to it. Now this does not go good on anything but bagels. You've got to have bagels if you're going to have it. Don't have it any other way. What am I putting this here? This is the top. This goes over here on the bottom here. Now, believe it or not, that is a lot of lox, and I have a lot of lox left here, and I am going to make a spread out of it with the cream cheese and get some scallions in it and a few other things in it. And then what you do is you put onions on it. Most people will use yellow onions when they have it like this, but I say I am going to use red ones. You put as many onions on as that you like. I'm not going to tell you put a ton on if you like it or not. Loxs and Bagels. But remember, you can also put lettuce and lettuce with it and tomatoes and serve it with calamansi olives on the side. It's delicious. I've had it that way as well. But this is our favorite way of having it. Don't get in there. I'm going to have to roll these sandwiches up. So, let me clean up a bit. I'll probably show you when I make this spread so you can see how I make my spreads. Anyway, that's how I make lox and bagels. Another way, using red onions. Listen, you can go just about any way with lox if you're just versatile enough with it. Sometimes I like to make a spread with lox, and I'll use the celery ribs, and you cut them about this long, and you just pack it right in there. And that's delicious too. I forgot the crackers. Knew I wanted crackers. Forgot the crackers. I'll pick them up next week. Anyway, or you could serve this when you make a pate with it. You can sit, or if you wish to call it a spread, you can sit there and put it on crackers, and believe you me, there's a lot of protein in it. You have it in the refrigerator, you have crackers, or if you want if you have French bread, you thin slice it and toast it. You can do the same thing. This is really a very versatile meat, and you can make spreads that your family, when they come in and they're hungry or something, and you're hungry, they're right there, you can eat them. So listen, take care. I'll see you later.